Good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 458, I think. Welcome to Monday, the first Monday of a new year. Welcome to 2022. Looking at my computer screen, it's not Minnesota cold this morning, but it's 4 degrees here in Madison, Wisconsin. Uh, I'll stay in. I have to make a post office run, but other than that, it's inside, and that's what I did yesterday. It was super cold. In the morning, I had to snow blow. We got a couple inches of snow um, Saturday night into Sunday. So did the driveway and the sidewalk. It was like 8 degrees. So I decided I'm not going outside again today, and I didn't. Did a lot of shipping yesterday. Watched some football. At noon, the Bears. I did not get the Bears game. Bears and Giants. What's up, Herman? So I decided, kind of getting all nostalgic with the passing of John Madden this week. I wanted to go back and listen to like a full game. I watched the documentary. The documentary on John Madden was excellent. Um, I actually a lot about John Madden in his coaching days. I didn't realize he retired so young, and I didn't know the whole story behind his coaching career, which that was new to me. I found that fascinating. And his, going into broadcasting in like 79 or 80. And then of course his broadcast, and that's how I know John Madden. It's interesting, my our older generation, like my dad, that generation, they knew John Madden as the Super Bowl winning head coach of the Oakland Raiders. I grew up with John Madden as a broadcaster, the turducken, the Madden cruiser. And, I think, the next generation, the kids, um, they're going to know John Madden as a video game. So, John Madden crosses so many generations. So I got nostalgic after watching that documentary, and I thought I want to go back and watch like a game like from my childhood that John Madden and Pat Summerall broadcasted. So I found, and I wanted a Bears game because I couldn't watch the Bears. And ironically, one of the full games I found with John Madden and Pat Summerall was a game from 1990 against the New York Giants. Mike Tomczak, Brad Muster, Neil Anderson, Wendell Davis, Maury Buford, Kevin Butler. It was the final season for Dan Hampton before he retired. So, of course, Mike Ditka on the sidelines, such a great Bears lineup. And then on the other side, starting quarterback was Jeff Hostetler for the New York Giants. They had David Meggett, Rodney Hampton. So it was a lot of fun. It was great to hear going into halftime of that game. Terry Bradshaw was on the halftime, and I just think of Terry Bradshaw. I mean, he's been on the Fox broadcast as a, you know, in the studio, one of the studio guys since like 1994, 93, whenever Fox started doing NFC football. So Terry Bradshaw, Greg Gumbel were the halftime, and right as they were going into halftime, John Madden, famous with his telestrator, got out the telestrator and was showing they had to they were setting up like the broadcast, the halftime broadcast booth right on the sidelines, but they had to wait. They couldn't do it during the game. They had to wait until like the final seconds, and there was like a penalty flag, so it kind of delayed the end of the first half. Madden had his telestrator out. He's pointing out Greg Gumbel has a hammer, which it wasn't to supervise the the laborers putting together the studio stage, but Greg Gumbel used that hammer as a prop when he was talking during the halftime show about the hammer on defense. So it was fascinating, and then I did watch some current day NFL football. I watched the end of the Bengals game. Wow, what a game that was! Bengals and Chiefs, and then I watched just a little bit of the Cardinals. Was it Cardinals Cowboys? I think so. Let's go to the chat. So we got Herman, Zach, George, Dan, Fall Creek, what is up? Fall Creek says he was done coaching by like 40. Yeah, he was young. It was in his he was in his 30s, I think 30, 39. Maybe it was in his 40. Maybe it was in his early 40. He was the youngest coach to win a Super Bowl, and I think he was like 37 or 38. And he coached for a couple of years after. So he might have been like 41 or 42. But yeah, he was super young when John Madden retired. So what a legend. And we lost Betty White. Another football coach, Dan Reeves, passed away. So we lost a lot of legends here over the last few days. So I really don't have much to talk about this morning. So John Madden took up 5 minutes. I did a lot of shipping yesterday. Um, that's kind of I wanted to Sunday's kind of my shipping day where I just kind of uh get massive amounts of shipping done. Yeah, Jeff Dickerson, Chicago beat writer, young, which is just a tragic story. He was, I think, 44, and his wife passed away from cancer. They left behind a young son. That just tragic. Um, what's up, David? Morning. Happy New Year to you. Back to the grind after 2 weeks off. Um, so to Sunday, I like to get all of my massive shipping done. I ran out of envelopes. Um, and I buy envelopes from Costco. They're cheaper. They're actually I found the cheapest buy on a per envelope basis at Costco than anywhere else. Cheaper than the dollar store, cheaper than Amazon. Um, I think 500 count the cheapest I found on Amazon, 500 counts were like 20 bucks. I get them at Costco 10.99 for 500 envelopes. So Costco was closed on Saturday, so I went to Walmart and I'm paying basically twice as much. It's like I think it was $1.77 for 40 envelopes. So I'm paying like 4 cents per envelope at Walmart as opposed to like 2.3 cents per envelope at Costco. Um, so I'm like, I'll get 4 boxes of envelopes and then I'll run to Costco. That'll get me through the weekend. I'll go to Costco Sunday. And it was so cold. I'm like, screw it. I I can wait till Monday. And I've got about 5 or 6 envelopes left. So I went through 160 envelopes shipping between Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon. So that's it was a busy weekend on eBay. My numbers keep rising, which is good because uh, up until like right around Christmas, my I was in the red for the last 31 days in sales. And I hate seeing that red because that means I'm not making, I'm doing this full time. So and I'm starting out. So I want to see the green. I want to see the green. So I was in the red. And what I mean by is percentage over the last 30 days. So up until like December 20th, my December 20th, that 30-day window was less in sales as the previous. Not that I lost money, but it was less than the November to or the October 15th to November 15th. So I'm finally in the green. I'm 11% in the green. So and that's from a 30-day snapshot from December 3rd to January 3rd compared to November 3rd to December 3rd, which is actually that's a little higher than what I was expecting, and that number's rising every day. I had a amazing New Year's Eve, great day of sales. New Year's Day was down. Yesterday was about average, a tick above average for January 2nd. And then today has been, starting out a little slower, but happy to see those numbers rising. Uh, Looking into my traffic, my impressions are closing in on 9 million. I still want that number to be high, but with my sales, the way my sales are, I'm not as worried about getting those impressions. I mean, obviously you want more impressions, more sales. My quantity sold is up 19% over the last 30 days. So all numbers tracking in the right direction, which is what I want to see. Dan binged 4 or 5 episodes of Dexter New Blood. We do not have Showtime. We cut the cord, went with YouTube TV, did not splurge on Showtime. I mean, we have like every freaking streaming platform there is. I think the only ones we don't have are Disney and Apple Plus. And Apple Plus is something we're probably because we want to watch Ted Lasso. So speaking of TV, by the way, speaking of TV, this is just today's show is like all over the place. Um, I watched Yellowstone last night. Get this, I kind of enjoyed it. I know it was the season finale. My it was like 6:45. It just finished up dinner, and I'm like, well, I've got more shipping to do. You enjoy Yellowstone, and came downstairs, did my shipping. It was like, I don't know, 8:15, 8:30. I came back upstairs and my wife says, Yellowstone's still on. And I'm like, that's fine. So I kind of started watching. It's like, it's kind of interesting. I would like, I'm not gonna go back and watch it. But if it's on, I won't like immediately walk downstairs. Now, my wife's been watching Call the Midwife. Now that's a show where I like there's no way in hell that I'll ever come around to that show. So that's like an immediate, okay, I'm either going into the office or going downstairs. But Yellowstone, I've come around to it. Come around to it. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Um, I did watch the first couple episodes of Cobra Kai. I don't watch much TV anymore, but I did watch a couple episodes of Cobra Kai. I took like a mid-afternoon break and watched some football and watched 2 episodes of Cobra Kai, which is awesome. I love it. So that's what I did for TV. George bought out penny sleeves online today. The shop only had 18 packs, didn't save any for the kids. Selling Korean players on NPB cards on Sports Cardaholic, but no bites. I torrent shows. I don't think I've done that for like UFC pay-per-view. Like if there's actually I don't even know which, like I've only done it once or twice. Back in the day, I would do it on like WWE pay-per-views before, like this predates the network. Like, so we're talking like 2011, 2012. Um, but I've never done any other shows or anything like that. What's up, Jenny? Happy New Year to you. Um, you should go back and watch Yellowstone. You would enjoy it more. And I found myself, I hate being that guy, but I had to because I started last night. I was really getting into the story, and it's like I had to connect some dots. So I'm asking, okay, and in particular, and so I don't want to give it away because I'm sure some people have Yellowstone DVR to watch it later. So I don't want to give anything away, but there was a scene at the end where like it didn't really make sense to me. But I had kind of connected the dots from earlier, like when Beth went to the prison. So I don't think that's giving anything. Beth went to the prison and talked to somebody, and then what happened at the very end of the show, I had to ask my wife, I'm like, so okay, so who was that guy and who was that guy? Okay. And then I connected the dots. So I did have to be that guy and ask my wife, okay, who's he? Okay, that makes sense. That the prison part, okay, got it. Um, Guy I went to school with, took karate with, was an extra in the last 2 episodes of Cobra Kai. Oh, that's awesome. Um, Going back to cards, Jenny brought up something yesterday in a chat about 2022 now. eBay, PayPal, other online platforms are going to be issuing 1099s if you sell more than $600, which that that's always been, you've always had to report more than $600 in sales come tax time. A lot of people don't. Did um, if there was no 1099 attached. Now there is, so the IRS has that paper trail, and if you don't report it, um, you'll get into some trouble. So now there's that paper trail, the 1099, $600, which if you're selling if you're selling really anything, that $600 adds up really fast. So what's it going to do in general. And we've talked about this, and I know Ken has mentioned it. I think card shows are actually going to. I was kind of concerned last year because I've already seen several card shows, even in my area, pop up. There's Zach. I just saw one. A new show is coming. I think starting in March in Kenosha. There's a Green Bay card show, which Green Bay hasn't had a card show. So it's great to see. I know there's one in Appleton, but there's a card show in Green Bay that's coming up starting in May. A dealer that comes to my show is actually starting it up, Matt. He comes to all my shows. So I'll probably actually go and do the Green Bay show. It's not until May, but there's a lot of shows popping up, and I'm seeing like all the time on Facebook and Twitter and forums where new card show, new card show, new card show. And a few months ago, I was a little concerned, for my card show. It's like, okay, is there going to be card show fatigue if all of these new shows pop up? You're going to get your regional pockets where people last year were coming to Madison because there wasn't shows elsewhere. But now there's a Green Bay show popping up. There's a Kenosha show. So now will some of the people, it's like, I just wanted to do one show a month. I'm going to stay close to home and I'll do Kenosha or Green Bay or, wherever else a new show is popping up. So I was a little concerned with all of these new shows, plus with the customer base. Now they're not coming in as well. They're not coming in either. So I was a little concerned with, okay, you know, uh, too much of a good what's the saying? Too much of a good thing is a bad thing. Like, um, steak is great. Have steak for dinner, but if you have steak every night, over and over and over again, I don't care who you are. You can say, "Oh, that's there." Nope, I can eat steak every night. Do it, and you'll get sick of it. It's just the way we are as humans. And so is too much of a good thing a bad thing in card shows? But I think it's actually this 1099 for online sales. I think it's going to help because those people that want to evade the taxes, um, they're going to want to do cash transactions. And where do you do cash transactions? You do them at card shows, and you do them in person. And there's not that paper trail. So I think it's going to be a good thing for card shows. What does it mean for eBay? I think those sellers that that have been reporting or had to report in the past, most states it was $20,000. If you've had to report that in the past, it's you're used to it, you've done it. If those that want to be above board going to stick to eBay, but a lot of people are going to drop off because they don't want to report that. So I think it's actually going to benefit eBay sellers that stick to it, because a lot of the people that aren't as dedicated to selling on eBay are going to be like, screw it, I don't want that 1099. I'm going to just go to a local card show. And now there's more and more local card shows popping up. There's bound to be one in somebody's area, whether they just go with their Pelican case or buy a table, they're going to be selling at card shows. So I think overall it's a good thing because you're going to have you're gonna have more sales at card shows, and if you're sticking to eBay, we might see an uptick in sales just because of attrition of sellers leaving the platform. Um, your card show has grown so amazing. I honestly have not seen a show grow the way yours has. I'm sure. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm sure others have. It's been. I knew there was potential. My friend Mark sent me that photo, and I didn't really take many photos at that first show. I've gone through my camera roll because I knew I remember walking in with the tables set up, and it's like, wow, this room is cavernous. I'm never gonna fill this room with vendors. And it only took 4 months, 5 months, and was able to sell out the room. And I think that first show, 15 tables, I didn't really have any good pictures. And it's like, I really want to see, because November, I just filled that room, every nook and cranny I could get, without, breaking fire code. I wanted to get in there. And I didn't have any good pictures. And I get a message from my friend Mark last night, and it's like it's that picture, and then he goes, "My things have changed." And it's like, wow. And so he was one of my first vendors, and has stuck with it over time. And it's like, wow. And so me and Mark and Johnny, who was my co-promoter at the time, we were in this chat together, and just kind of reminiscing of that first show, like 15 tables. I had a dealer come in from Florida. And he actually just, that's what he does. He just travels all over the country, going to card shows. And so he had done a show in like Tennessee the weekend prior, and had a friend in Illinois, saw my show on the Beckett calendar, like, I'm going to come up to it. And I told him on the phone, like, this is our first show. And I think he thought it was our first show since COVID. No, this is the very first show. And when he's setting up, and he had absolute fire, like Jordan Rookie, Trouts. I mean, he had the best table of any dealer that's come through the show. And when he's setting up, he goes, "So this is, when was your last show?" I go, "No, this is the first show." And he goes, "You've never done a show?" I'm like, "No, I've this is the first time I've ever promoted a show." And the look, if looks could kill, I think that was information that he would have liked to have, but he did well. He you know, dealers, when you ask them how they did, and just generally speaking, it's either, well, I did okay, or I did crappy. Nobody ever does great. Um, very rarely, when you ask somebody, "How'd you do?" "Oh, I did awesome." Not too often, because I think, and even myself, I'll do, in the grand scheme of I'm selling quarter cards. So if I make a few $100 selling quarter cards, that's pretty awesome. Um, but even so, when I much, and I want to do more, and it's like, I did okay. I could have done more. I could have done better. That's always going to be the case. So um, he didn't cuss me out at the end of the show. He would have. He was that type of personality. He would have. He tells it like it. He told it like it was. And he didn't complain at the end of the show. So I was very happy, and that gave me, uh, I think that gave me encouragement to keep grinding, and build it up. So I had to use that photo that Mark sent me, um, just to show how much the show has grown from 15 tables to 64 in November. Hopefully, even more in January, at the end of this month, January 29th, and open up that hallway. Put Not open it up, but put tables out in the hallway, and get to 75 tables. Um, Advertise your shows in the Twin Cities Craigslist. I've heard from a lot of the Twin Cities, Madison isn't too far of a drive. We don't have a lot of shows here. That's a great idea. I'm gonna hammer that down today, because Craigslist is something I've just kind of, I've advertised with a post on Craigslist a couple times, um, and that is something that, it's free. So I will look into that. I do great at every show because I had fun, and that's the thing. That's the thing where some of my best shows were my worst sales days. I've used, sorry Mike, sorry John, I've used their August Rockford show, which the Rockford show has probably grown more, and I think it has. They have a waiting list than mine in the same amount of time. Their first show and my first show were right around the same time. Their show has grown immensely. Um, they had a show, they switched locations in the summer, and the foot traffic was way down. I didn't even like, I made nothing, little to nothing, but I had a great time, because I had fun, and I met some vendors that would uh, do my show later on. So I was able to build some connections and network, and gain vendors for my show as well. And I got some awesome deals because nobody was at my table. nobody was there. So most of the sales were from dealer to dealer. So I was able to walk the room many times over, look through bargain boxes. I bought a bulk box, and found some great dollar cards and bought some quarter cards. And I think to this day, that August Rockford show was probably overall my best show, all things considered. Um, and by the way, Rockford has a show this coming Saturday at the Rock Church on Harrison Avenue. So I'll be there, just doing, actually downsizing my table space. I'm going to focus more on dollar cards at this show, see how it goes. I'm going to bring my cheap slabs, do some dollar boxes. Um, Everything's in disarray right now. My card show inventory is in complete disarray. 2021, I would just build my 25-cent boxes, build, and then by the end of the going into the fall, it's like, okay, this is stale inventory. I need to create some boxes that are new for this month because I've got regulars that dig through the boxes. Well, they may have dug through this box and it's the same cards that they've looked through for 4 or 5 months. So I need some fresh inventory. So that's when I started. I think in October, I started doing new for October boxes. So, hey, these are new. You haven't seen these before, new for November. Well, since the 2 months off, I've got some new inventory. And now I've decided, I think more of the focus may be on dollar cards, just as my show continues to grow. I want less table space for me, more table space for others. Um, and still do a table or two, but dollar cards instead of 25-cent cards. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. And my inventory is in disarray because I've been looking to load my eBay store with inventory. So I've been going through a lot of the quarter boxes, and it's actually been fun because, like, that Jose Canseco card sat in my 25-cent box for 15 card shows. All of my shows, most of the Rockford shows, I did a Schaumburg show, and I pull it out. Oh, this is an interesting card. It sold for $8 in like a day. And it was for 25 cents for 15 card shows. So I've gone through, I've pulled a lot of cards out to put in my eBay store. And I've had fun doing that because I'm going through, especially with football. And I found football to be nostalgic because I don't do football. I stay away from football. And a lot of the football, it's like it goes in my 25-cent box and I just look away, because I just really don't know that market. And I've gone through and it's like, oh, Rashaan Salaam, man, he was my favorite back in the mid 90s. And Jim McMahon, like I want to start a Jim McMahon PC. Every Jim McMahon card I put on sells within a couple days. I sold an 89 Pro set and a 92 Action Packed for $1.50 a piece. Same person bought it. So it's just amazing what's been selling. So going through those bargain boxes again for me, some of these I haven't gone through since March and April. So it's kind of like new cards that I haven't seen in almost a year. So that's kind of my goal this week at Rockford. My goal is sell dollar cards, hopefully sell a couple cheap slabs. Um, try to network with some new vendors, and then also pick up some book. I haven't been to a show since my show in November, so I'm jonesing to dig through a bargain box, to buy a bulk collection or a bulk box, because I haven't done anything since Thanksgiving weekend. So it's been about 6 weeks since I've been to a show. So let's see. Herman, have a great day. And by the way, catch Herman 3B Collection tonight, 7 p.m. Central on his channel with Ken. Let's make April the best show. So yeah, my schedule here. January 29th is the next Madison Card Show. February 26th, March 19th, April 30th, May 28th, which I believe that's Memorial Day weekend, June 25th, July 23rd, August 27th, September 24th, October 22nd, November 19th. So I had to get creative with a couple months. You see that March date is right in the middle of the month, where most of my shows are at the end of the month. There were conflicting dates weren't open at the venue. So I think May was another, um, got lucky with May, in fact. So there was a time where they had like 1 week they had the 28th, and I think the 28th booked and the 14th booked. So I had it set for May 20 from the office. So I'm looking at like the first weekend in May, and then I'd have to bump back the of the month, but they're like, no, the 28th of May is open. Um, so that's good. So looking forward to all of those shows. It really shows the difference in the eyes on the cards on eBay versus shows. Mid March should be great for baseball cards. Bring your prospects. And I'm starting, Jenny. I don't know if you've started seeing this, but my baseball has really been moving quickly over the last. It was almost like the day after Christmas. All of a sudden, I was getting a lot of action on baseball. I was getting watchers on some higher end like serial numbered prospect cards that hadn't had watchers in months. I was selling some player lots, heritage minors, and pro debut, and that's kind of trickled in. Where usually I don't see that pick up steam until the end of January, whereas I saw it the end of December, which could bode well for the future of baseball. Now let's hope they get to work this week and get that lockout settled and get back to work. I can't believe how this weekend was on eBay. Wow, I can't keep up on shipping. It was same here, and I touched on it at the beginning of the show. My Friday was my best sales day. Probably I don't have the data um, previous to the last 30 days, but I'm pretty sure that's my biggest sales day since October was on Friday. And then Saturday was on the lower end, New Year's Day. But then yesterday was a little above average. So overall, between Friday and Sunday, it was definitely a great weekend and above average. So that's all I had for today. I really didn't have anything, just a bunch of rambling. Um, Again, this Saturday, I'll be at the Rockford Card Show. So no show this coming Saturday, 7 a.m. Monday through Friday. So back on tomorrow morning. Um, that's all for now. Have a great Monday, and we'll chat tomorrow.